Friends, today I would like to highlight the significance of mind and its analysis in Buddhism. The very first two verses of Dhammapada says, Mano Pubbangama Dhamma Mano Siddha Manomaya Manasache Paduchena Bhasativa Karotiva Tatonang Dukh Manveti Chakkang Vavahatopada. And the next verse uh, recites the same thing almost uh, in the similar words but opposite. Manopabangama dhamma manosiddha manomaya manasache prasannena bhasativa karotiva tatonang sukhmanveti chayavan payani. Mind is the most important, mind the fastest runner, and everything originates out of mind. That is why the Buddha has laid utmost care or emphasis on mind. One thing that we find very significant in the analysis of human being and the suffering that he undergoes, the Buddha says, when particularly in the context of Abhidhamma, he since the Buddhism does not apparently believe in the existence of permanent soul, so in place of a permanent soul and its role in the making and shaping of a man, the Buddha talks of mind and body, nama rupa. So for him, a person or a being is made of two factors, nama rupa. In the context of Abhidhamma, the same has been uh, studied differently. He says that whatever we find here and there, everywhere. So he talks of citta in mind, because mind has two aspects, can be divided into two, chit and chetsik, particularly in the context of Abhidhamma. So what is citta? Chinteti iti chittang, that which thinks is consciousness, chitta. What does it think? It thinks alambanang chittang chinteti chittang, that which talks of, which thinks of, which its object. There are, according to Buddhism, there are six senses: chakhu, sot, ghan, jiva, kaya, and man. And the six sense organs or senses have their six respective objects, alambana or arambana. So the particularly the sixth one, man, that is chitta, which symbolizes, that is the word for chitta. So it thinks of the alambanas, and that is why the Buddha says that a man is his personality is made of two factors, chitta, that is mana, and kaya, nam and rup. That's different words, the same thing has been denoted. So in the context of Abhidhamma, he further says that mind has two aspects that I have already spelled out, chit and chetsik. And the physical part of our personality is called a rupa, that is body, or yes, body. And the combination of mind, body is the man, is the person, and the combination of mind and body suffers. So he talks about the actual condition, the pathetic condition of man, which is surrounded by dukkha, different types of suffering. And the very purpose of the Buddha's life was to take the man from the state of suffering to the state of freedom of suffering, complete freedom of suffering, that is Nibbana. And in this context, particularly from the viewpoint of Abhidhamma, we find that uh, the chitta, that's consciousness, has been studied very minutely. Just we think of uh, almost 2600 ago when Buddha was on this earth. And you can imagine there was no modern type of psychological lab, but that great psychologist, he analyzed consciousness and enumerated it as 89 or sometimes 121 types of consciousness. There are two types of counting, enumeration. So, and because of the various factors and the level of purity and impurity, the Buddha talks of four levels of consciousness. That is Kamavachara Chitta Bhumi, the sphere of senses or sensual pleasures, Kamavachara. Kamesu avacharati chittang iti kamavacharan chittang, and tasya bhumi kamavachar chitta bhumi. Then it is the level of the consciousness of common man, a man who just roams from one object to another object, and there is no end of that. So, and we know the Buddha has already said that if you have thousands of thousands of um, desires, because mind, whenever is good, it creates desire. So, if a person has 100 types, 1000 types of uh, desires, his suffering will also be in 1000. If he has hundreds of desires, his suffering will be reduced to 100. If he has 10 desires, his suffering will also be 10. If he has one desire, his suffering will be 1. And if he has no desire, there won't be any suffering. So the Buddha very methodically and categorically says that, okay, if you want to move from the state of suffering to the state of freedom of suffering, you have to curtail the movement of your mind. And for that he um, talks of four levels of consciousness and why the various types of consciousness are there, why consciousness suffers. So the minimum level, the lowest level of consciousness is called Kamavachar Chitta Bhumi. The Buddha says that, okay, since you are indulged in various types of desires, so naturally you have different types of suffering. So that is why the Buddha prescribes sila, that is a virtue. I won't go in details of virtue here, but there are various types of virtues, sila, and the Buddha says that if you practice upon the various types of virtues, there will come a time when your physical and vocal misdeeds will be reduced and you will be uh, purified physically and vocally. But your journey has not stopped, has not come to an end. And if your mind is still polluted, if you are not purified mentally also, there is no end of your suffering. You are not going to get rid of suffering. So at the second step, the Buddha prescribes samadhi. There are 40 types of kammathanas as discussed in Pali literature, and these kammathanas are nothing but various objects of concentration. When a practitioner or desirous of undergoing practice of samadhi approaches some senior and experienced monk who is fondly called Kalyana Mitra. The Kalyana Mitra discusses and, seeing his attitude and aptitude, advises one of the objects which has, of course, some form and color and shape. He advises the practitioner to start practice of concentrating his mind, and this is called rupa samadhi or rupa dhyan, and the sphere is called rupavachara samadhi, a consciousness which remains or undergoes in the sphere of form, because the consciousness tries to concentrate, tries to withdraw its movement from innumerous objects and concentrate on the single one. This is called rupa samadhi, and after it gets fully concentrated, I'm not going to details of various types of hindrances, how the practitioner feels problem and how he overcomes. So I am just skipping that portion because otherwise that will be very long talk, and I'm just curtailing that. So I'm telling that with the help of five constituents of concentrate meditation, the practitioner succeeds in getting success and succeeds in concentrating his mind on the single object that is chosen for, and that is the completion of rupa samadhi. Of course, now one point is very important here, because the Buddha says that okay, you have already left, given up all the lust, all the desires, all the roaming from different objects, one object to another object, and you had chosen one. But, my dear disciples, you are not supposed to stuck up there. So, instead of getting stuck up, you just get rid of that. And with a beautiful instance of crossing over the river by a raft, the Buddha says, Kullupamang bhikkhave dhammang desemi nitharanaya nibandhanaya. You monks, I teach you. My teachings are just like a raft which helps a person to cross over the river, and after just as the person who has already crossed the river does not take the boat or raft on his shoulder anymore, rather he leaves there and there only. So similarly, you had already left immoral things, you had already curtailed your mind from various objects of lust. Now you have to get rid of that single object also. And if you do that, then there comes the turn of arupavachara samadhi. The Buddha prescribes four types of shapeless, formless objects. That's in infinite space, infinite consciousness, nothingness, and neither consciousness nor non-consciousness, like that. So these are, in transcendental ways, the practitioner tries to concentrate and ultimately finds success. If that is achieved, this is called the arupavachara samadhi, and the consciousness is called arupavachara chitta, and the sphere is called arupavachara chitta bhumi. After completion of arupavachara chitta bhumi, the ardent practitioner feels that now my mind has fully got purified. Now it does not roam from object to object. It is quite stable. It is quite pliable. But in the uh, if he analyzes his mind very pure, very minutely, he finds that there are 10 factors which are still, of course, in dormant state, in the seed form, but they are also to be destroyed completely. Unless they are destroyed completely, he is not going to get nirvana or the complete freedom from suffering, complete emancipation. These are the factors. If they are not destroyed, a person, howsoever he is pure, he has to uh, go from one life to another life, one life to another life, and the journey of his um, rebirth will continue. He will not get nirvana. That is why the Buddha says that, okay, you have to destroy those 10 fetters, those 10 sanyojanas, those 10 factors I have already mentioned. These are called fetters because they rejoin you from one life to another life. Samyojana, samyojeti sangyojana. So, the practitioner, first of all, takes up first three uh, fetters, that is Sakkaya Ditti, Vichikicha, and Silavat Paramas. Sakkaya Ditti means belief in the existence of a permanent soul. Vichikicha is doubt particularly in the three gems. Doubt is very dangerous in the and great impediment in the progress of a spiritual life. So, if there is doubt, that is the enemy of faith, Shraddha. So that is why the Buddha has given very utmost importance to this factor, doubt, vichikicha. So the practitioner uproots that also. And the third one is Silapat Paramas, means right belief in the rites and rituals as the remedy of suffering. So when these first three fetters are destroyed completely, now the real journey of that practitioner starts towards nirvana. It is said that after that he enters the stream that is flowing towards the ocean of nirvana. It has been explained um, as the first glimpse of the blissful nirvana, and it is believed that now onwards, maximum, if he does not attain the nirvana in the in this present life, at the most he will have to take 7 births and ultimately he will get nirvana. Before that it was no surety, no certainty, but now it is sure, and maximum 7 births and rebirths. So he moves further, and sorry, after this one he called sotapanna, and after that the particularly fourth and fifth, Kam, Rag, and Patik. These are the toughest uh, fetters, and they are not destroyed easily. So the practitioner tries to weaken them to a certain extent, and after that he succeeds. He becomes a sakadagami, once returner. Means if he does not get nirvana in this life, he will have to come to this birth once again by taking rebirth once more only, and after that he will do that. So, but after that, he tries to destroy these Kam, Rag, and Patik, which have already been weakened. And when they are really uprooted, he becomes Anagami. Means if he does not get Nirvana in this life, he will not come here again. He will take birth, rebirth in some celestial abode, and from there only he will strive and he will attain Nibbana. So, after these first five fetters are destroyed, the latter five rest five fetters are comparatively easier to be destroyed, and they are destroyed easily. And after all the fetters are destroyed, that is the that symbolizes the attainment of the complete cessation of suffering. That is called arhathood. That is called nirvana. Now the question is, his life is still remaining. So nirvana has been uh, considered, uh, has been divided two, because this nirvana which he achieves in this life only, uh, it is called saupadhishes nirvana. And now whatever he does, he has no attachment, he has no desire. For him, life and death is no problem. It doesn't make any difference. So his physical uh, existence continues, but no more clinging, no more desire, no more accumulation of deeds. So when he ultimately dies, his body, that is five aggregates, that also comes to an end, and that is called anupadishes nibbana. So this is the journey of consciousness. Now, in the context of mm, Abhidhamma, the four, once I am summarizing, the four spheres of consciousness are Kamavachar Chitta Bhumi, Rupavachar Chitta Bhumi, Arupavachar Chitta Bhumi, and Lokuttar Chitta Bhumi. Kamavachar Chitta Bhumi has 54 types of consciousness. Rupavachar has 15 types of consciousness. Arupavachar has 12 types of consciousness, and Lokuttar has 8 types of consciousness, which uh, due to a from different angle becomes 40, and that way the total number of consciousness is from one point of view is 89, and from another point of view is 121. Now there are chetasikas. Chetasikas are the factors which remain in mind. Ekuppada nirodha cha ekalamban mathuka. They are part and parcel of mind, but they are not consciousness. They motivate the consciousness to think in a particular manner. So they are, and they motivate, they change our mind also. So they are called chetasikas. They are 52 in number. Then the mental part is okay, fine, chit and chetsik. And there is another, our physical part is rupa. According to in the early Abhidhamma tradition, they have been told to be 27 in number, and in later Abhidhamma one more is there, 28. And Nibbana is of course one. So this is the, in brief, I have tried to explain to you the journey of chitta from the state of suffering to the state of complete cessation of suffering, that is Nibbana. Thank you.